Skeletons falling out of the closet.
Integrity question takes center stage as the vetting of candidates for the IEBC chairperson begins.
The People's Republic of China has been in this country for as long as Kenya has been independent.
And
Raila's official government assignment.
ODM leader meets Chinese ambassador Guo Haiyang on Kenya-China development cooperation. Thank you, and we warmly welcome you to the program.
Our socials at KBC Channel 1 on X, YouTube, and Facebook. Our sign language expert tonight is Susan Thuku.
Our top story now, the integrity question and suitability to hold public office took center stage at the beginning of the vetting exercise of persons shortlisted for the post of IEBC chairperson.
And Amadi was on the spot over her link to the 2023 gold scandal, which she dismissed as an attempt to tarnish her integrity.
Now, the former judge of the East African Court, Charles Nyachae, was hard-pressed to respond to claims of having extramarital affairs and also scandals in the petition filed by Bunge la Mwananchi.
Abdiaziz Hashim had details of the day one of the interview, where 4 of the 11 applicants were interviewed.
The ghost of the 100 million shilling gold scam in 2023.
I draw my strength from sticking to the truth, what is true, because the truth can never become a lie, and lies can never become true.
Came back to haunt the former Judiciary Chief Registrar, and Amadi was being interviewed for the position of IEBC chair.
It was an attempt to shake me, an attempt to mudsling my reputation, because I've upheld my integrity. I do not have skills in gold trade, and I had nothing to do with it. In fact, for the interest of this commission, I came with copies of the decision of the High Court that vitiated the decision freezing my account.
In our defense, Amadi, who has 34 years of legal experience, told the panel the British trader who was allegedly defrauded by the law firm Amadi and Associate Advocates in a fake gold scheme failed to convince the Court of Appeal of her involvement in the scandal.
There was actually no reason for me to be in that case and named as the first respondent, because the firm that is involved, I resigned from it in 2014. And I was very busy in the judiciary. There was no time even to go and, get into any kind of practice. So for me, it was a malicious attack, and which is something that is, when you're in public service, you must be ready for. Public service at certain levels is not for the faint-hearted.
At the same time, she pledged to reduce the number of polling stations from the current 46,232 to 22,000 if appointed into office to enhance efficiency.
Charles Nyachae, confirming that is you.
Meanwhile, former judge of the East African Court, Charles Nyachae, was confronted by his alleged past transgressions in a petition filed by Bunge la Mwananchi.
And they allege the following: that you failed Chapter 6 integrity test due to scandals including extramarital affairs and child support lawsuits that you have faced before. Number 2, financial impropriety. They allege that you're linked to Procter and Allen, a cereals company in financial distress that has defaulted 3.7 billion loan, raising doubts about your financial management.
Nyachae in response stated that the allegations against him were hearsay and lacked merit.
Now, when I go through this, the first one of personal morals and integrity are just allegations and some. I saw a page from some newspaper.
Any knowledge of you being a state candidate?
A state candidate? For this job? No. I'm not sure what a state candidate is, but I made this decision to run. You know, Mr. Chairman, when somebody talks about a state candidate, they're actually insulting this panel.
This as Chief Magistrate Abdul Qadir Lorot defended his bid for the chairperson position despite being a state officer, citing a precedent set by the cabinet.
I think I am respected by majority of my colleagues on the bench, and I have cut out a career that has spanned all these years with service and honor.
Lorot is currently the Chief Magistrate at the Naivasha Law Courts and has served in the judiciary for 23 years, including as a judicial trainer. The 9-member panel also queried Edward Katama.
Perhaps I'll seek legal advice on whether the IEBC on its own motion can enforce the doctrine of necessity, or whether it requires validation of the court.
While the panelists were engaging the various candidates for their suitability, a section of youths were voicing their concerns over the nominees who were shortlisted, arguing that the youth are not rightfully represented to take up roles within the commission. The interview will run in 2 phases. Candidates for the chairperson role will be interviewed from March 24th to March 26th, while the selection of commissioners will take place from March 26th all the way to April 24th. Francis Kakai, Jacob Ngwele and Joy Brendam Divo are among the other candidates that will appear before the Dr. Nelson Makanda-led committee tomorrow. Abdiaziz Hashim for Prime Edition.
So we'll be tracking that IEBC story for you. Let's stay with elections, but now train our eyes on the level of preparedness.
Election observers and civil society groups in the country now want the chairperson and 6 commissioners of the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission, IEBC, to hit the ground running once they assume office.
With less than 3 years to the next general poll, concerns are mounting over whether that commission will have enough time to implement key reforms.
Observers are also urging the IEBC selection panel to ensure that the new commissioners reflect integrity, inclusivity, and competence.
Ben Chumba is our reporter on that story.
I believe that I have something to offer.
The race against time has begun as the country embarks on the process of reconstituting its electoral commission. Pressure is mounting for swift and decisive action. Civil society groups and election observers say the new IEBC must move fast to rebuild public trust and address long-standing electoral challenges.
Our law envisions a permanent commission so that they can be able to prepare for an entire 5-year period. When they come 2.5 years to the elections, that means things are going to be speeded up. So now the major problem is going to be how to track what is going to be missed out and what is going to be implemented. So we are already time-barred. I think they need to hit the ground running as soon as they come in and try to see how much work they can be able to do before 2027 comes.
A major concern remains the integrity of the selection process. The IEBC selection panel is now conducting interviews for the chairperson and 6 commissioners. Analysts warn that if the right people are not selected, the political challenges that delayed the process may resurface.
We must always go back to the question, why did it take that long to be able to constitute the IEBC? If there are political questions, are we so sure that even after the commission is formed, those political issues are not going to rise up again?
And when elections have faults or fault lines that are not reformed, over time, governments lose legitimacy, but also citizens lose their free will as to who should govern them.
According to election observers, the new commission will need to act fast on key issues, including cleaning up the voter register and organizing free and fair by-elections.
When you have fair elections, the chances that you have leaders that represent your interests is quite high. So citizens should make investments in election observation.
Kenyans do not trust the electoral process. They don't trust the institutions, they don't trust the people in it. It does not matter who even comes in. So among the first thing that the new commission ought to do is from day one, start reaching out to the different constituencies out there.
As the country counts down to 2027 elections, the pressure is on. With time running out and expectations high, all eyes are now on the selection panel to deliver a credible team. Ben Chumba, Prime Edition.
From elections to the question, is it a slippery mountain mission?
That's right. President William Ruto has reaffirmed the government's commitment to aligning national and county governments' priorities to accelerate the county's development agenda.
The president spoke at State House, Nairobi, during a consultative meeting with Central Kenya governors, together with cabinet secretaries and principal secretaries from the region.
Here now is that report.
With his much-anticipated tour of Mount Kenya region expected to kick off in a week's time, President William Ruto on Monday hosted top leadership of the region at State House, Nairobi. Among the leaders in attendance were Deputy President Kithure Kindiki and Governors Cecily Mbarire of Embu, Kirinyagas Anne Waiguru, her Kiambu counterpart Kimani Wamatangi, Joshua Irungu of Laikipia, Tharaka Nithi Muthomi Njuki, Irongo Kangata of Muranga, Kiarie Badilisha of Nyandarua, and Isaac Mutuma of Meru. Also in attendance were Cabinet Secretaries Mutahi Kagwe of Agriculture, William Kabogo Gitau of Information Communication and the Digital Economy, Lance CS Alice Wahome, Rebecca Miano of Tourism, and Principal Secretaries Mary Mudhoni of Public Health, among others. In his address, the President said the government is keen to address the needs of Kenyans and drive inclusive growth. The meeting further discussed key programs and projects being implemented by the government to spur Mount Kenya's region socio-economic transformation. Joseph Ohungu for Prime Edition.
It's the World Truthful Day.
Victims of sexual and gender-based violence and other violations in the country have called on the government to compensate them for injustices meted on them.
They say that they have had to incur the cost of nursing scars of both emotional as well as physical violence over the years.
The victims who convened in Nairobi questioned the status of the 10 billion shillings reparation kitty established by former President Uhuru Kenyatta in 2015.
And it's Nancy Okware who puts that story in perspective.
Victims of various human rights violations came together to commemorate the International Day for the Right to Truth held in Nairobi. Survivors say they continue to nurse both physical and emotional scars of violation. Some who are survivors of sexual assault during the 2007 post-election violence and bore children from the assault now have children who are turning 17 years. Despite the years gone by, they are yet to receive compensation.
I was gang raped during the post-election period and I got a child out of it. It was not easy, but I'm here now. I'm here today. I've been advocating for the rights and for the rights of the survivors and justice for the survivors of sexual violence of the post-election period.
That was violated, sexually violated, and then conceived and had a child from the violation. And then thereafter, I met with many other women because I participated in the Truth, Justice and Reconciliation Commission process of seeking truth. And I met with very many other women and girls and men and boys who had been violated during the violence. So IDPs were resettled, that people whose barns were stolen or whose goods and cattle were stolen were compensated, but for sexual violence nothing has been done.
The victims are also calling for the implementation of the recommendations of the Truth, Justice and Reconciliation Commission.
And most important is the call for accountability, especially by all the state organs that are charged with the responsibility of promoting and protecting human rights.
In his speech delivered by Nairobi Senator Edwin Sifuna, former Prime Minister Raila Odinga acknowledged the violations meted on Kenyan people over the years and the need to ensure justice is served.
I understand that a handful of victims have been in court since 2011 seeking justice and reparation. Even more disappointing is that whereas we hoped to draw a red line following the PEV experience, the same patterns of gross human rights violations continue today. I have been consistent and will continue to stand firm for the rights of victims to truth, justice, and reparation.
I've tried the legal. Those survivors who've gone with me to court, you know we've won all the cases we filed. But none of you has been paid from those cases. So where's the problem? The problem is in the political system.
Punishment for the perpetrators, for me, is as important as compensation for the victims, because they were not supposed to have done that in the first place. And we must get to a point where we make examples of perpetrators of crime.
Those present called on the government to institute measures that will prevent further violation of human rights, citing the recent Gen Z demonstrations that led to loss of lives, injuries and abductions. Nancy Okware, Prime Edition.
Tom, by the way, it is not only the World Truthful Day.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, a day we should be brutally honest with one another.
It is also World TB Day. And we teased this at the beginning of this broadcast. Kenya has significantly reduced TB infections in the country from 168,000 cases in 2017 to 124,000 annually in 2024.
That's right. This was revealed by the Ministry of Health top leadership as Kenya joined the globe in marking World TB Day.
National Assembly's Health Committee Chair, Dr. James Nyachae, called for realignment of funds to ensure TB programmers do not lag behind amid fund cuts by the U.S. government.
Yeah. Now is that report by Marie Ambo.
Kenya joined the rest of the world in marking World TB Day as the Ministry of Health acknowledged that TB remains a public health concern. In its strategic plan, the Ministry of Health aims to reduce TB deaths in the country by 80% by 2030 and ensure no household suffers economic hardships due to TB. Speaking at the national event, National Assembly's Health Committee Chair, Dr. James Nyachae, urged stakeholders in the health sector to ensure they present their budgets on time.
When the document comes to Parliament at the budget policy statement level, you actually have indicated your needs, and if they have not been met, then they should come clearly at that time. This is an unmet need in the area of TB.
Ivan Rono, Monitoring and Evaluation Officer, Kenya National TB Program, called for bold policies at the county level to ensure more resource allocation in the counties.
Financial policies that come out should ensure that it is geared towards ensuring that elimination of TB is realized.
We are committed to enhancing program efficiency and exploring innovative financing mechanisms, including public-private partnerships.
To the launch of Homa Bay.
Separately, Homa Bay County is celebrating a decline in drug-resistant cases of TB, along with an increase in cases of treatment. According to County Executive Committee Member for Health, Grace Masio-Sewe, the county notified and treated 3,558 TB patients in the past year, including 363 children, representing 10.8% of the total cases.
The number of drug-resistant TB cases has been on the decline since 2021 due to our improved quality of care, and as of 2024, we registered 9 drug-resistant TB patients on treatment.
Mariambo reporting for the Prime Edition.
Minutes past the top of the hour. Coming up,
Crime Watch plus that story on Super Metro.
That's right. We will tell you what happened. Stay with us.
Inuka na loto moto sasa kwa star 570 hash option ya 4 kuna kashamba juja na nika 50 by 100 worth 1.7 million Kenyan shillings. Na hii si shamba tu, iko kwa prime location few minutes from Juja Town. Stima yako iko ndani, na kama ni development rapid and so promising. Na mambo ya landlord, mwisho wa mwanzo ni hapa. Ukishinda hili shamba tunakuongeza 1 million Kenyan shillings ujijengee nyumba yako kwa shamba yako. Kuinuka na loto moto ni kucheza sasa hivi kupitia star 570 hash option ya 4 au register deposit na ucheze sasa hivi kwa www.tushinde.com na ujishindie shamba hili na addition of 1 million Kenyan shillings. Inuka na loto moto.
We heard you. Tax amnesty is back.
Kenya Revenue Authority is giving 100% relief on interest, penalties and fines for tax debts incurred up to 31st December 2023. Don't miss out. Take action now by settling your outstanding tax debt through easy-to-pay installments by 30th June 2025 and watch those penalties and fines for tax debts disappear. It's now or never to set your tax records right. Take advantage of the tax amnesty today. Terms and conditions apply. Kenya Revenue Authority. Tulipe ushuru tujitegemee.
Welcome back to Prime Edition from wherever you're watching us in Kenya and around the world.
Our socials at KBC Channel 1. Continue talking to us on our social media pages at KBC Channel 1. David Gishiri watching KBC Channel 1 from Maram and Nicholas watching KBC Channel 1 from the Central Business District. Thank you for your company.
So we open our second part of this live broadcast with a look at the Crime Watch. Coast Regional Police Commander Ali Nuno has put on notice criminal gangs terrorizing residents of Likoni.
Speaking at Likodep Hall, Mombasa, when he received 100 youths who have abandoned criminal activities, Nuno vowed to deal with miscreants head-on according to the law.
Now, elsewhere, senior administrators in Kiharu constituency, Murang'a County, are on the spot for allegedly attacking patrons and workers in a pub in Murang'a town. Timothy Kipnusu is our reporter on that beat.
Coast Regional Police Commander Ali Nuno has warned criminal elements their days are numbered, even as he urged lawmakers to relook at capital offences that require bail.
Vijana wangu, the implication is, the social implication of being in conflict with the law is that at early stage wewe utakuwa umejichafua, utakuwa umejiharibu. Ukianza kuchukulia vidole saa hii, kesi moja baada ya kesi nyingine. Now you want to grow up as a responsible member of the society.
Nuno expressed concerns that allowing bail for capital offenders is a setback in the criminal justice system, as in most cases the suspects commit crimes when out on bail.
Sasa ukianza kumamba ya criminality at this early stage, you will be spoiling yourself. Therefore, crime does not pay. I'm ready to partner with you. I'm ready to work for you.
Most of the juvenile gangs are politically instigated groups. Na leo hapa mbele yenu nasema tena, hawa vijana wetu wanatumika vibaya na sisi wanasiasa.
He made the remarks as he held a meeting with the 100 reformed youth who opted to abandon a life of crime.
Kasela wetu Timbwani ni yako. Timbwani ikiharibika wewe ndo unaharibikiwa. Hapa Timbwani nyooke kasela mbaya. Tenda kama inavyotakikana.
Meanwhile, senior administrators in Kiharu constituency, Murang'a County, are on the spot for allegedly attacking patrons and workers in a pub in Murang'a town, leaving them nursing injuries.
I have a neck injury where I can't move my neck, vizuri, so the muscles are hurt. That is from the swings from the lady and from the man. The legs from the folds, the lips, the spine, the back, because the folds are two different ways.
Huyo madam juu nikataa kumpatia fungu akanislap. Kuuliza mimi nimeslapiwa nini? Kasa acha kuuliza hivyo. Juu hadi akona gun. Unajua naweza kuslap mpaka nichoke.
In circulated CCTV footage that have sparked outrage, the two assistant county commissioners, Esther Mudhoni from Kiharu sub-county and her male colleague Peter Mutoka, senior assistant county commissioner at the office of deputy county commissioner, are captured entering the hotel at around 5 a.m. on Saturday.
So I inquired from them what the problem was. And they could not be able to explain. And at that level, I realized one, that they were staggering and they appeared drunk.
Timothy Kipnusu for Prime Edition.
To that story we teased for you, and I was telling Tom, Dr. Noah Nganga, watching KBC Channel 1 from Nyari Estate, is waiting for this story. Tom?
Okay. All right. That's true. The Transport Licensing Appeals Board has temporarily lifted the operational ban imposed by the National Transport and Safety Authority, NTSA if you like, on the Super Metro Limited fleet.
The board, through its chairman, Adrian Kamotho, said the fleet can immediately resume operations in due compliance with the law.
This as the NTSA organized a special forum that brought together the SACCO's operators, among them the drivers, the conductors in Kabete, which is in Kiambu County, on matters road safety.
NTSA says the action taken on Super Metro Sacco was not an isolated case, but will cut across all other SACCOs.
NTSA suspended Super Metro Limited's operating license, remember, on the 20th of March. Why? Multiple violations of public service vehicle regulations.
Kuna mambo ambayo tulikuwa tumeomba kwamba kampuni iangalie, irekebishe. Na kampuni pia ikawa imetii kwamba ni mambo mazuri yatawasaidia kuanzia leo na kuendelea kule mbele. Kwa hivyo hakukuwa na ile haraka kwamba lazima watu warudi barabarani kwa haraka hivyo na hawajakamilisha hayo mambo. Kwa hivyo kuna utaratibu ambao lazima wakamilishe. Na imekuwa ni vizuri, hatujakuwa na shida yote. Walileta magari, tumeyakagua, madereva ndio hawa, tumeangalia.
Sisi tulienda na tukaomba, tukatoa ombi letu on Saturday, na tunataka kushukua shukrani kwa sababu kupitia yale ile bodi imeona ni vizuri sisi turudi kazini kama tunaendelea kutimiza yale ambayo hatujayafanya kuendelea. Ni makosa kuchukulia hatua na kufunga sako yote kwa sababu ya makosa ilifanywa na dereva mmoja ama na kondakta mmoja. Ni vizuri kila mtu akuwe na beba msalaba wake.
Nimefurahia sana venye tumerudishwa kazi. Sasa hiyo venye chairman wetu amesema kuhusu shule ya kutrain hawa maconductors, hiyo tunaweza ichukulia kwa vizuri sana.
On to our next item now. ODM leader Raila Odinga Monday met with the Chinese ambassador to Kenya, Ambassador Guo Haiyan, to discuss ongoing development cooperation between Kenya and China.
Odinga acknowledged China's significant role in financing key infrastructure projects, emphasizing on the importance of continued collaboration between the two countries.
National Treasury Cabinet Secretary John Amadi was also in attendance during the meeting.
Received today here Ambassador Guo Haiyan from the People's Republic of China. She's paid a courtesy call on me, and we have discussed issues of common interests. As you know that the People's Republic of China has been in this country for as long as Kenya has been independent. And they have financed a number of development projects in our country. There's a very good cordial relationship between Kenya and China within the fields of trade, fields of industrialization, the fields of cultural exchange, and so on. So we have just done a review of this, and as you know, it's ongoing discussions between the government of China and the government of Kenya, but I'm not part of the government. Therefore, I'm really concerned about mutual relationship between our two countries.
To the corridors of justice now. A Milimani's court has lifted temporary orders that had previously halted the border management at the Nairobi hospital from borrowing any capital extensive expenditure.
Justice Peter Mulwa ruled that a number of issues raised by the plaintiff were similar to matters pending before another related case.
Details in the Scales of Justice segment.
Justice Peter Mulwa's Monday ruling was a relief for the Nairobi hospital management, weeks after the court suspended the hospital's order that had stopped management from borrowing any capital-extensive expenditures. The petitioner Samuel Mushiri, in his court papers, had challenged the conduct of the annual general meeting held on December 4th last year and its outcome, which led to the election of a new board of directors. He also claimed that the hospital intended to borrow offshore 4.2 billion shillings using assets of the hospital as collateral. Elsewhere, a middle-aged man has been charged for stealing over 30 million shillings from Diamond Trust Bank. According to the prosecution, Samuel Mutai is accused of fraudulently disposing of mortgaged property without DTB Bank's knowledge. However, through his lawyer Moses Kurgat, the court was informed that he is a victim of circumstances and should be released on a free bond.
My client here is an innocent individual who has gotten caught up in a web that he did not understand because he was not in charge of the operations of the company. So, Your Honor, would request that you grant him a personal bond. He is not a flight risk.
Chief Magistrate Lucas Onyina had ordered Mutai to be released on a bond of 1 million shillings, awaiting pre-trial.
Submissions made by both the prosecution and the defense. The first accused is granted bond of Kenya shillings 1 million with one surety of the same amount, with alternative cash bail of Kenya shillings 500,000 with one contact person.
2 people have been charged in the Ndumberi court in connection with taxi hijackings and vandalism in Kiambu County this year. The 2 pleaded not guilty before Principal Resident Magistrate Moses Wanjala at the Ndumberi Law Courts. According to the public prosecutor, the 2 were arrested while committing a crime having hijacked a taxi driver. They were arrested by police officers from Ndumberi Police Station conducting mobile patrols along Ndumberi-Kiambu Road.
Let's now take you to the counties. Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission, IEBC, has been challenged to adopt digital voting, which is verifiable and transparent.
Meanwhile, government has been urged to expedite the reconstitution of the IEBC to avoid prolonged leadership gaps that could lead to the mismanagement of public resources.
Now, this and more in the County News Roundup with Tilio Marco.
Residents of Malava constituency in Kakamega County are expressing concerns over delays in the process of constituting the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission, warning that prolonged leadership gaps could lead to the mismanagement of public resources.
Waweze kuzingatia hii process ya constitute IEBC kwamba ikaweze kukamilika kwa wakati ufao ili mwananchi wa kawaida akaweze kupata haki yake.
Elsewhere in Laikipia County, Laikipia East Member of Parliament Mwangi Kiunjuri says President William Ruto's intended tour of the Mount Kenya region will be a blessing to the region.
Ile kazi serikali inafanya saa hii ni ile serikali ambaye Uhuru Kenyatta aliacha, ambaye hakumaliza. Zile barabara zinatuma tulie kama watu ya Mount Kenya na Kenya mzima. Ni zile barabara zilianzishwa na serikali ambaye ilikuweko.
In Kajiado County, Governor Joseph Olelenku has vowed to continue enhancing education infrastructure in the county, among other raft of measures, to improve the low levels of formal education in the area.
Ninatangaza kwamba tutaendelea kufanya hizo kazi kwa sababu wazazi na walimu na shule zetu wanatutegemea sisi kama serikali yao.
And employers have been challenged to prioritize employee health and wellness to drive workplace productivity and long-term success.
We do not really need to wait until our close persons, our employees fall sick, but we can take measures such as this being offered by healthcare just to make sure that, we are a step ahead and keep abreast, not waiting for calamities to strike.
Finally, the Cabinet Secretary for Education, Julius Migosi Ogamba, has underscored the government's commitment to fostering innovation, digital skills and technological excellence among students.
As you are aware, His Excellency the President moved the Kenya Innovation Agency to the Office of the President to enable the organization to be in charge of the cross-cutting nature of innovations in the country. The President also directed that 500 million Kenya shillings be injected into the Kenya Innovation Agency and a further Kenya shillings 1 billion for startups funds to facilitate the process of innovation in the country.
He spoke during the feting of over 21 Kenya's brightest young tech minds who excelled in the Huawei Information and Communication Technology Competition National Final Award Ceremony in Nairobi County. Tilio Marco, Prime Edition.
It's now time for the Cabinet.
In December 2015, President Uhuru Kenyatta made changes in his cabinet, which saw the entry of a tech guru, Dan Kazungu. We used to call him Dan Kazungu, or we still do, as new cabinet secretary in charge of the mining portfolio.
And Kazungu was among others who were tasked with leading the policy and structural establishment of the mining ministry that, though very promising, was largely underdeveloped.
He became the first ever resident of Malindi to be appointed as government minister.
The industrious Ben Troy Njue is the one on that story.
Ambassador Daniel Kazungu Mzee was born in 1970 in Kavilani, Malindi in Kilifi County. He started his early education at Marikano and Langobaya primary schools in Malindi before he joined Kwale High School for his O-levels. Kazungu later joined Moi University, where he acquired his degree and master's in information science. After graduation, he worked at the Institute of Advanced Technology as a training consultant before moving to Computech, where he was deployed to a United Nations agency. He later joined FinTech International as a sales representative of Microsoft and Compaq across East Africa region before switching to IBM in New York, where he was in charge of personal computing division in East Africa. From IBM, he moved to Lenovo Corporation East Africa as regional manager before returning to IBM, where he finally served as country representative for Ethiopia and Kenya. Kazungu switched to politics in the year 2013 when he vied and won the Malindi parliamentary seat. In the 11th House, he served in 3 departmental committees on energy, regional integration, as well as that of communication and information. Kazungu quit parliament when he was nominated the mining cabinet secretary in December of 2015. As a CS, his work was clearly cut out. He repealed the 76-year-old Mining Act and delivered Kenya's
Wellness is important in our daily lives so that instead of just surviving, we should be thriving.
Ways to prevent a stroke or heart attack is for you to know what conditions you have by regular checkup. People don't know they have hypertension. People they don't know they have diabetes.
I was pre-diabetic. I was afraid of getting lifestyle diseases because I come from a family that has lifestyle diseases.
How do you know if your cough is due to a serious condition? We'll have some answers.
Stay well and strive to make every day a healthy day.
Thank you for staying with Prime Edition. My name is Werimo Jenga. I take you through the day's business news. Kenya should prioritize accurate data collection on electronic waste to guide policymakers in making informed decisions on its management. Speakers at the 7th Eco-Regional E-Waste Awareness Conference that kicked off today said there is need for urgent policy reforms and best practices to ensure the safe disposal of electronic waste that is expected to hit 82 billion kilograms globally in 5 years.
Of tons of electronic waste have been generated globally over the past decade. However, Africa's share remains relatively small, with over 60% of its electronic waste coming from imports. According to the Global E-Waste Monitor, 62 billion kilograms of e-waste is generated annually, yet less than 1% is formally collected and recycled in Africa. generation of electronic waste is outpacing formal recycling efforts by a fifth.
How many of these devices are being produced within our region? Because we're talking about managing the end life of these electronic products. We need to think about how we're handling about the starting of the electronic and the semiconductor industries.
While Kenya has made significant strides in electronic waste management through the extended producer responsibility regulations, which place the responsibility of waste management on producers, experts say more needs to be done.
To rethink not only how we manage e-waste that is already in our environment, but also how we manage future production of e-waste by making sure that the devices that we're bringing into the market are sustainable and are easy to recycle.
The hazards of e-waste are crystal clear to all of us. We urgently need long-term regulatory safeguards and solutions. This is the time for deliberate action on e-waste management.
They are rooting for regional policy harmonization for safe disposal of electronic waste.
Promoting circular economy where products are repaired, refurbished, and recycled instead of being discarded. Harmonizing policies and legal frameworks to enable efficient cross-border collaboration in e-waste management.
We are not allowed to import any e-waste, but I think there is scope for us to look at the policies and the regulations to allow e-waste movement across the countries, so long as it is for purposes of recycling.
Telecommunication companies and equipment vendors have centers that are targeting to collect 100,000 devices for recycling and reassembling.
Agriculture Principal Secretary Paul Rono says the government has procured an additional 1 million bags of subsidized fertilizer for the long rains season to meet high demand from farmers. Here is Benson Rioba with the details.
Smallholder farmers in some parts of the country that the subsidized fertilizer was out of stock last week are being advised to check at their nearest National Cereals and Produce Board depot. Agriculture Principal Secretary Paul Rono says an additional 1 million bags have been procured on top of the 3.5 million bags that had been bought earlier.
Kisha tukaitisha mbolea zingine milioni moja. Hata umeona imechapa OCP 700,000 bags, zingine 200,000 bags zimelodiwa.
It were better if the government could be supplying fertilizer in abundance, in an estimate of a fertilizer that can cover almost 2 years, so that the scramble between the small-scale farmers and the large-scale farmers cannot match.
Rono says there has been increased demand for the subsidy fertilizer ahead of the long rains planting season.
Tuliposikia imeisha ndio katustusha kidogo, lakini tukafanya uchunguzi tukapata maana ya fertilizers kuwa ndogo sahi kwa sababu wakulima wamekuwa wengi sana kuliko mwaka uliopita.
Last mile distributors of the subsidized fertilizer are being vetted.
Pareta hiyo ni ya Morocco, hiyo ni ya wapi? Pareta aina moja. Sasa mnapanda mahindi ndio utajua hii ilifanya msuri.
Wameleta mavuno na wameleta nyingine sijui inaitwa nini. Hatujawahi tumia kwa mashamba yetu kuweza kupanda.
Wale watu wanafanya hiyo tabia mbaya kuharibu mbolea na vile kuharibu mbegu, kupeana mbegu mbaya. Hawa hawatapata nafasi wakati huu na wakati wa kuendelea mbele.
He says the government is extending the subsidy program to seeds by availing cash to the Kenya Seed Company to lower retail prices and encourage farmers to use certified seeds.
Tumerudisha bei ya mbegu. Kilo moja shilingi 210, kilo 2 shilingi 420, kilo 10 shilingi 2,100 vile.
Benson Rioba reporting for Prime Edition.
And we'll be following up on that story to see the distribution of the subsidized fertilizer in our subsequent bulletins. Now, the ongoing heavy downpour in Masai Mara ecosystem has got tourism stakeholders worried of potential disruption to operations. The tourism players, through the Masai Mara National Reserve Managers Association, say they need to prepare to efficiently coordinate rescue missions, supplies, as well as financial support towards addressing floods.
Climate change poses major challenges to the tourism industry, especially in fragile ecosystems such as the Mara National Reserve. The degradation of ecosystems excavated by erratic weather patterns and loss of biodiversity poses a threat to the environment and the economic lifeblood of communities that depend on tourism.
There is need for collaboration between private sector and government in promoting Kenya as a sustainable tourism destination and in working together to ensure that we deliver on our part as a country in terms of the sustainable development goal.
Speakers during the Mara National Reserve Managers Association annual general meeting challenged stakeholders to adapt to the changes to ensure the sustainability of tourism destinations.
Even as we market the destination, we are cognizant that there is need to ensure that we conserve our environment, that we conserve our wildlife, and also that tourism continues to have a positive impact on the national economy as a whole.
Kenya Tourism Board Director of Market Development, Betty Chan, says inclusion of local communities in conservation efforts will help in attaining resilience.
We want to continue speaking the same language, ensuring that all the best practices we have, all initiatives that we can put in place to make sure that our ecosystem is sustainable for future generations are well in place.
That changing weather patterns experienced in the Mara have impacted animal migration, water resources and vegetation, even as Kenya continues making strides to enhance its global reputation as a leader in ecotourism. Frederick Mwoki for Prime Edition.
The 13 billion shillings Mwache Dam is 30% complete and is set for official opening in early 2027. Irrigation Principal Secretary Ephantus Kimodo says once complete, Mwache Dam is expected to put an additional 1,000 acres under irrigation and provide clean water to residents in the counties of Mombasa and Kwale.
Among the crops to be cultivated at Mwache Dam once complete will be horticulture. Irrigation Principal Secretary Ephantus Kimodo says once complete, the 13 billion shillings multipurpose dam will put an initial 1,000 acres of land under irrigation to increase horticulture production in Kwale.
The dam completion is supposed to be January 2027. So we have approximately 22 months before that day. But from today, 24 hours, the concreting will be going on every other day.
Looking at more broadly how this project integrates into the economic agenda of the countries is all that expertise that the World Bank Group brings while working with the governments.
The Mwache Dam project is designed to cushion parts of Kwale by harnessing runoff water and water from Mwache River Basin to prevent flooding.
Mwache Dam in terms of storage capacity has 136 million cubic. But of that, 9 million is dead storage, but the 127 million cubic is what will be utilized.
Mwache Dam, which has a capacity of 136 million cubic meters of water, will also offer safe and clean water for those living in the counties of Mombasa and Kwale.
Mombasa County currently has a gap of 75% of the water requirement, and Mwache Dam is going to come and fill in that gap.
The Mwache Dam project has employed 1,200 youths and is expected to provide sustainable livelihood to over 1,000 households once complete.
Upon to embrace sustainable farming solutions in order to protect their livestock and ensure the long-term viability of their livelihoods. Now, Mandera Deputy County Livestock Officer Mohammed Noor says the national government and non-governmental organizations are providing technical training and financial support to pastoralists in the region to help them adopt their sustainable practices.
Unsustainable farming and grazing practices have led to overgrazing, soil erosion, and water scarcity in many areas, putting the health of livestock at risk and jeopardizing food security. These challenges are especially evident in regions where droughts, floods, and erratic weather patterns are becoming more frequent and intense. In Mandera, non-government organizations in the region, including RASIDA, with support from the Boresha program, have initiated a sustainable farming program for fodder to help build resilience against climate change.
We are supporting our farmers. Actually, we have active farmers, 550 active farmers along riverine areas. In Mandera County, the 6 sub-counties, out of the 6 sub-counties, we have 3 sub-counties who are now bordering the riverine areas.
Pastoralists in the region have received training and access to drought-resistant grass seed varieties such as Sudan grass.
Rains, and it has really impacted them. With Boresha implemented by RASIDA, we are able to support these farmers who are in Fiqo, who are 24 members with Sudan grass and farm tools.
At the same time, with the drying of the River Daua and acute feed shortages, local farmers are reclaiming degraded land and restoring hope through climate-smart agriculture.
Hata wengine wanakuja wananunulia sisi, alafu tunapea pesa, tunapata hiyo pesa, alafu hiyo pesa tunatumia na shule, watoto tunalipia na shule secondary.
Tumefaidika. Ile sisi tumefungwa, ile nyingine napatia ngombe, ile nyingine nawekwa, tumepatia deresi yetu jirani.
Frederick Mwoki for Prime Edition.
That marks the end of business news tonight. Marakwet Express is up next. The day's sports. I put a cap on my day's business news. My name is Raila Jenga.
Kupitia star 570 hash tunakupa nafasi ya kuchomoka na this beautiful Mazda Demio. Enjoy a beautiful, clean, semi-leather interior, low mileage, fuel-efficient 1300cc engine, great for personal use and business. Ukitaka kujishindia gari hii, kucheza ni rahisi sana. Chukua simu yako, bonyeza star 570 hash, chagua option 3. And for only 35 shillings, hii gari inaweza kuwa yako. Kumbuka kucheza mara kadhaa, because the more you play, the higher chances of wewe kuwa mshindi.
Mungu ni mwema, asante Mungu. Ile nitakuwa naendesha hivi.
Dial star 570 hash and make this dream car yours.
Cheza Loto Moto.
A very good evening to you. Welcome back to KBC Prime Edition. My name is Karen Kibet. Let's now talk sports. Now, over 70 golfers from different regions took part in the 5th edition of the Ndumberi Golf Club Patron Tournament that took place at the Ndumberi Golf Club, Kiambu County. The tournament was used to raise funds to complete a stalled clubhouse.
Speaking during the tournament, the patron of the club, Peter Kimari, urged the Kenya Golf Union to move in speed and support the cause, saying Ndumberi Golf Course was founded in the early 50s and has been in the center of the village where all sports activities and meetings take place.
It's a club which has been in existence for the last 65 years, and now it's being used as a golf course, a playground for football, public balazars, government mission, county government balazars are all here.
Kimari also added the fundraiser will go a long way to complete the clubhouse where they have done the changing rooms.
Today we are having a series of tournaments, and particularly every tournament will be doing some fundraising.
During the event, Peter Mwache emerged the overall men's winner after garnering 45 points, while Stanford Kanyoni and Timothy Kimari completed the podium positions. In the ladies category, Holina Njeri garnered 33 points to bag the title as sponsored team winner. The club has produced best golfers in the country, among them Michael Koraga, who is the top amateur golfer in Kenya and 5th in Africa, and best junior amateur golfer Elvis Muigwa.
I would wish to thank the county government of Kiambu for giving us a parcel of land, half an acre of land within the course, where we are now doing a clubhouse.
The World Athletics Masters Indoor Championships enters its second day in Gainesville, Florida, USA, with 2 Kenyans lined up to participate after Millicent Ndolo missing out on her best race on the opening day of the championships. Millicent, who was earmarked to be the first Kenyan to commence Kenya's medal hunt in her specialty in the 60 meters 335 category, missed out on the start list due to the Kenyan team arriving late in Florida. Millicent says she equates that to a false start, but now focuses on her next race, the 200 meters, slated for the 26th. Meanwhile, Peter Mwangi, Kenya's shot putter in the M40 category, promises to give his best in tonight's race. Another Kenya athlete, Ibrahim Muya, will be taking part in the 60-meter M40 category. Kenya is participating in the World Athletics Masters Indoor Championship for the first time and is represented by 8 athletes, only following visa challenges. The championships end on 30th March 2025.
I took it positive, but for the first time attending this race indoors, this is my first time. And the World Masters, it was my achievement, at least to get that chance to compete.
Nitajitahidi sana. Indoors mimi sijaienda, hii ya kwanza, lakini I know I'll do best. Mimi nitangangana na hao wazuri.
Moving on, Bernard Chelule is the latest SportPesa midweek jackpot winner after hitting an impressive 13 out of 13 and walking away with a life-changing prize of 13,725,565 shillings. Now, Mr. Chelule, who has been betting since 2016, expressed concern about young individuals being drawn into irresponsible gambling during the holiday season, especially with the mega jackpot currently exceeding 400 million. Beyond his newfound wealth, Chelule dreams of making significant changes in his family's life. In recognition of his victory, SportPesa also provided Chelule with a VIP experience, which he enjoyed with his wife. This latest win adds to the series of triumphs in 2025.
Nataka ninunue kashamba kakangu. Hata ile nilikuwa nayo kidogo, nafanya development hapo. Hii pesa kabisa itakuwa imechange maisha yangu. Ni kama nimepiga like inakaa kama ni U-turn. Kata sio SportPesa, nimeattend leo for the first time Safari Rally. Extremely happy. Nimepata experience yenye sijaipata.
Beautiful. Moving on, Francis Wachira emerged the overall winner of the 13th edition of the Scrabble Kenya Masters Series tournament, which culminated yesterday at the Nairobi Steamer Club. Wachira won the 2-day tournament after winning 15 matches and losing 3 with a spread of 798, followed by Philip Mutinda in second place and 12 wins and 6 losses, while Willie Mwangi completed the podium positions after winning 11 matches and losing 6. Pan-African Scrabble Association President Adekayo, who attended the tournament, said they were using it as a build-up for the second Africa Youth Scrabble Championship, set to be held in Kenya from August 14th to the 17th this year, and will bring together over 120 players from over 10 African countries.
So we are trying to really go out there, reach out to people, reach out to schools. We're even working on have it inculcated into the school curriculum so that we can actually we can have Scrabble taught as a subject, so that basically to improve the overall approach of things in life, because it's like a game of life.
Tuna matarajio makuu sana kwa hawa vijana wadogo, the likes of wenye wako college, secondary schools,
na junior secondary schools na primary, hata nursery. Sasa at least kama Nakuru saizi tunaanza mikakati ya kufunza kuanzia chini, ni vile tu tunakuwa na challenge ya kifedha.
It's the second edition. It's holding here in Nairobi, Kenya, at the Brighton International School in Katani. And we're preparing, we're ready. We already have a local organizing committee that is working on, every part of the event. We're planning with the host. We're planning with the host country as well, the Scrabble Association, which is Scrabble Kenya. We already have 13 countries confirmed. We're expecting another 4 more countries to confirm. And we're expecting about 120 to 150 players from all over Africa, from the age of 7 up to 19 to participate at the event.
And those were all the sports stories we had for you tonight. My name is Karen Kibet, and I do hand you back to my colleagues Irene Muchuma Odim, and Tom Boya. Muchuma.
Muchuma and Tom. And that brings the curtain down on this broadcast. Thank you for watching. I'm Tom Boya. Good night. We'll be back again tomorrow.
I am Muchuma Odim. Thank you for your feedback on our social media platforms. Our sign language expert tonight is Susan Thuku. God bless you.
Bye-bye.
Jet A1, cheza avieta bila data bila credo. Dial *892# for instant takeoff. Pepea bila pressure kucrash au kucash out. Avieta bila data, avieta bila credo. Uko na kabambe, wewe pia ni rubani mnoma. Dial *892#. Jet A1, michezobet.com. Cheza kwa kuwajibika. Kushiriki ni miaka 18 au zaidi. BCLB license number 0000664.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Fasting with diabetes requires special care. Be sure to regularly monitor your blood sugar levels and consult your doctor to ensure that fasting is safe for you. If you frequently experience hyperglycemia, meaning high blood sugar, or hypoglycemia, meaning low blood sugar, it is best for you not to fast. Additionally, if you start feeling weak or dizzy, it is safer for you to break your fast immediately. At suhoor, it is best to choose complex carbohydrates such as whole grains, oats, and brown rice, along with lean proteins such as fish, plain yogurt, beans, and lentils to ensure your energy remains steady throughout the day. Ramadan is about prioritizing your health.
It's yet another time for us to get to let you know what has been happening in the world of entertainment. How you doing?
What's up, eh? Baby. I
Ashkurima.
Allah.
Have you seen my wife? You know that song, Miss B, right?
Yes, I know it, but I don't know the lyrics of the song.
And I mean, we come to Apple, man. Have you seen my person? Have you seen Grapevine for this week? Have you watched? That is the vibe, man. Big shout out to the one and only Kashpanyo verse, yeah? This has been trending, man, for the whole of this week with this song.
It's a big song.
It really
it's actually
is,
a really big song.
Yeah. There's something about South Africans, Miss V, huh? I was saying, you know, some Africanism in them, man, yeah? You know, the pride part, yeah? Just flossing and embracing, you know, the things that you have and the person that you have. Have you seen my coast?
Yes, and this is how we start off the show. And by the way, Mula, you remember we got to go, we went and covered when Sugar were doing